everyone. Welcome to episode number 655 of this here electronic engineering podcast called Amelia's Weekly Fish Fry, brought to you by eejournal.com and written, produced, and hosted by me, Amelia Dalton. Agentic AI is the name of the game this week, my friends. My guest is Ashwin Patil from Deloitte, and we're talking all about agentic AI and the biggest challenges for implementation. Ashwin and I also explore what he has coined the three horizons of agentic AI and the innovative activities that Deloitte is pursuing to advance agentic AI. So, without further ado, please welcome Ashwin to Fish Fry. Hi, Ashwin. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you, Amelia.
All right, so we're talking about agentic AI and the three horizons that can be applied to this kind of AI to further innovation. So, first, Ashwin, for my audience who may not know, what exactly is agentic AI?
I'm glad you asked, Amelia, because that is a very popular question. Everybody likes to talk about AI and uses buzzwords and terms. Now, agentic AI is certainly something that a lot of our clients are asking and talking to us about. Think of agentic AI in a very simplistic manner as the evolution of what was Gen AI capabilities that are being applied towards specific problems to drive specific outcomes. That's really what agentic AI does.
Okay, so what do you think are the biggest challenges for implementation of agentic AI?
Well, apart from the fact that it is new technology and has a maturity curve that's associated with it, which is still evolving, one of the big barriers ends up becoming how does this apply to me as an organization? What does this mean in terms of what will people do in the future? And what is the level of maturity I can expect from it coming out of the gate? Especially because a lot of the companies are familiar with package solutions, SAP and otherwise, where there is a level of start and finish. Whereas in many of the capabilities as it pertains to AI and data, there is an aspect of evolution, of training, of maturity improvements over a period of time versus starting with 100% accuracy.
That makes sense. So, Ashwin, walk me through these three horizons.
So this three horizon isn't necessarily a industry term, Amelia. So I would like to start by saying this is something that I came up with really as a way of helping our clients understand how to think about maturity advancement as it pertains to agentic capabilities, AI capabilities in general, really, but certainly with agentic capabilities. Now, many companies think of AI agents as really a digital workforce. And when you think about a digital workforce, there is a lot of similarities between a digital workforce and, frankly, what is a human workforce. When you hire a person new, they are unfamiliar with the systems, they are unfamiliar with the ecosystem in which they are operating, they are unfamiliar with how to do their job exactly as a trained, experienced worker. So there's an aspect of maturity that a human worker goes through where they get entrusted with more and more things as they do things right, as they get corrected, as their work gets validated. Well, a digital agent or an AI agent is no different. And that's why I came up with this notion of three horizons where you're starting with a level of assisted agentic capabilities. And that's horizon one, where a large part of it is where the agent is being trained to support simple tasks, have an initial level of understanding that takes them beyond what typically a robotic process automation capability did, because an agent can have contextual capabilities and an understanding processing capabilities that typically lacked in the robotic process automation capabilities. So think of Horizon 1 as largely an assist oriented agentic capability, which is driving assistance to human effort and human workforce that's in any client. Horizon 2 would be where you're going from assistance to augmentation. Now, here's where you've done enough of training on the agents so that the agents understand the general outcome they're trying to affect and are being augmentative to human effort in recommending things, in predicting things, in simulating things, in coming up with risk-based scenarios to be able to point to subset of things that a human worker should look at and pay attention to versus always being in a pure assist mode. And this is where Horizon 2 is different, where you've gone from telling an agent exactly what needs to be done to having the agent maybe suggest things that need to be done to the human. Now, as you think about the last frontier, which is that Horizon 3, now this is where you validated the outcome or the output of an agent. You've trained it enough with enough data. You've validated all the outcomes in a way that drive appropriate actions as an outcome of the intelligence that the agent would have otherwise generated. And now you've gotten to Horizon 3, which is more of being autonomous, right? So you've gone from being assistive to being augmentative to now driving autonomous capabilities where within certain realms of thresholds as it pertains to accuracy, you're allowing the agents to not only identify the appropriate intelligence, but have those series of agents work together to affect the action that would have been otherwise taken by a human. So think if I'm coming up with a potential inventory shortfall, what is the best course of action? Do I divert inventory from somewhere else if it's in excess? Do I procure a new inventory order or place a separate order for a new inventory to be procured? Is there something that I should be doing in terms of delaying other tasks and activities such that the inventory is available when it does show up and is required for usage? Those would be the kind of things that you would get to a point of autonomy where an agent would have the capability of driving that autonomous action coming from the intelligence that gets generated in the back end.
So, Ashwin, what is Deloitte doing to support these goals?
Great question, Amelia. And we recognize that clients are going to be thinking about driving this transformation in different ways. And hence, we are being flexible in helping these clients in different ways. So, as we think about the value that agentic capabilities can drive, they really come in three areas. Number one, how do I drive business process transformation using agentic capabilities such that I take an unconstrained view of my existing processes and think about reimagining that process with the help of agents in that Horizon 3, such that an aspect of my process is completely automated. There are other aspects of my process that are continuing to get augmented or assisted. The second bucket of value in which clients can drive value from agentic capabilities is essentially talking to their data. Now, most clients are very familiar with building dashboards and scorecards and reports, and these are static. For all practical purposes, they are driven by a set of variables that are pre-programmed, and the human interaction with these reports is looking at the data and then coming up with the next question. And that next question you want to ask may or may not have a report associated with it, in which case it goes into a technology project of creating a new report. Well, what if you had an ability to talk to your data in natural language and have agentic capabilities break down your question that you've asked in natural language into a set of structured and unstructured data that was being retrieved and presented in a formatted way or in a semi-formatted way where there are graphs and charts that typically a human is used to looking at, but also maybe an explanation that says, If there is an inventory shortfall, why is that? If sales are going to be up, what is the reason for that? And it allows that interaction to be progressive, meaning based on the first set of responses, you can ask additional questions. And that's the second way in which we are driving agentic capabilities with clients. The last one being somewhat back end oriented. And what I mean by that is, most clients have large teams that are today performing various roles across the data and analytics lifecycle. If you think of a platform that augments each of those roles, whether they are a data profiler, whether they are a coder and a developer, whether they are a tester, or someone who's just purely dealing with operational things as it pertains to this life cycle, like a product manager, project manager, and so on, how do we now take a role-based augmentation of agentic capabilities and apply it such that each of these roles get a level of productivity improvement and an efficiency gain through the use of agentic capabilities that are largely working in that assist and augmentation mode? That is the third way in which we are helping clients think through value recognition by providing that agentic capability assist and augmentation across the life cycle of building solutions as it pertains to data and analytics.
All right, Ashwin, it is time for your off the cuff question. So, if you could have one meal right now, it doesn't matter if it's on the other side of the world, you need a passport to get there, what would you have?
Well, Amelia, I have traveled to many countries, and that's a personal passion of mine to go explore cultures, go explore food, go explore places. And one of the things that I've always gotten enamored with is fusion food, right? Food that comes from two different places but comes together in a unique way and appeals to your palate in a very different way than either of those cuisines would have. And my favorite, absolutely most favorite meal is Indian Chinese food. And it's not food that you get in China. It's not really food that you get in India typically, but this fusion of Indo-Chinese food. And for any of my friends who have indulged themselves in Indo-Chinese food, they will already be salivating over this. But Indo-Chinese food is the absolute best, and you can get it in most parts of India and I guess parts of Southeast Asia now, and it's beginning to come up all over the place in the US as well. So I'm excited about where that evolution evolves as you go from Indo-Chinese to Indo-American Chinese.
I love it. That sounds absolutely wonderful. Well, Ashwin, this was super cool. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you, Amelia. Appreciate the invite. Great talking with you.
Well, folks, that's all I've got for this week's Fish Fry. If you'd like more information, check out this week's Fish Frying page on eejournal.com or this week's episode on YouTube. Hey, have you checked out EE Journal on social media yet? Well, you should. You can find us at facebook.com/EEJournal. If LinkedIn is more your thing, I dig it. You can follow us or me on LinkedIn, and we are also on Mastodon and Blue Sky Social. We also have that YouTube channel I just mentioned, youtube.com/EEJournal. Folks, it is chock full of all kinds of techie videos, including our very popular Chalk Talk webcast series, hosted by me, and our animated series called Libby's Lab. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. If you know of any cool new technology or heck you just want to chat, shoot me a line at Amelia, that's Amelia, at eejournal.com, or post a comment on our forums on EE Journal. For the week of October 24th, 2025, I'm Amelia Dalton, and you've been fried.